Good morning.
Morning.
Before I start, let me tell you something. I am really terrible at this. I'm better one-on-one, kneecap to kneecap, eyeball to eyeball, just two guys talking. So I'm going to be talking to you, Randy. Okay, so before we get started, how many have used Solution Finish in the past? Okay, you guys are excused.
Sir, what was your name?
Normally, how I start out or how I do it is say, look, Solution Finish is really good. You ought to try it. Are there any questions? But since the majority have used Solution Finish, we'll kind of talk briefly, because brevity is best with me. Because the reason I'm so bad at it is because I keep on talking and my head, gets into weeds, and I want to talk about the chemistry of it and the why trim oxidizes, plastic oxidizes. But to start out with those that haven't used it, Solution Finish is for rubber, vinyl, and plastic, and it does three very important things. It's solvent-based, so when you're applying it with your microfiber applicator, it helps dissolve the existing oxidation that's on your trim. Two, with modified and penetrating oils, it draws a modified carbon deep into the plastic pores, the microscopic pores of the plastic. And then three, it has antioxidants and light stabilizers that help absorb and block UV radiation, which is actually what causes oxidation. So the application, let's see, on the card, on the instructions, it's 3 steps. Vigorously shake the bottle, apply a small amount on a microfiber applicator sponge, finish the vehicle, and then you wipe off all of the excess surface oil on the surface of the part you just restored. I can't tell you how many people skip 1 or 2 of those steps. How it's unbelievable. They use a terry cloth towel, put it on it, wipe it on, leave the oil on it, in 3 days. I did it 3 days ago and it's still kind of tacky. And I said, okay, let's go through your process, because I never ever say user error, you didn't do it right. It's more about promoting the brand and having a satisfied customer. Said, so you vigorously shook it. Well, yeah, no, I shook it. Which, strike number 1, I know he didn't. 2, you applied it to a microfiber applicator. Well, I have a rag that I use, so it's simple, 3 steps. Wipe it on, wipe it off, Now, for prep, step number 1 on the card is give it a nice alcohol bath, 70-90% is probably best for me because it evaporates quickly. But 50-50, because you're not trying to clean the plastic. All you're doing is breaking down the existing or previously applied dressings. You're breaking down any silicone that's on it. When I'm doing demos, I go over the dirt clods and the oil and the cobwebs. I don't care. I've never really seen durability and longevity on the part really increase or much of a difference from it. But people they say, well, yeah, but what do I do to prep it? The reality of it is, to prep it, the most important thing is that the part is dry. Because what they do is they wash their car, they chamois it off, and start putting on Solution Finish. And even though it's not puddling water, beading, it still has moisture that's trapped in it. You can't see it, it can't feel it, but it's there. And oil and water is not the real deal. The thing that is so important in our industry, so I say, with Solution Finish, is that well-maintained trim will enhance the overall appearance of the vehicle. You guys do spend so much time on the paint, make it look perfect, make it look as good as it can look. If the trim doesn't match the paint, you don't get the bang for the buck. I see guys put on silicone-based dressings, and it's got that wet look shine. You know, it collects dust and all that, but it doesn't look natural. Look, you know, they put it on the tires, and it looks like the vehicle just went through a stream. You know, we want it to look like a new part or a well-maintained part. If it looks like it's, if it has, you know, silicone oil on it, they know you did something to it. If you use Solution Finish Trim Restore, what it looks like, especially when it comes time to resell, you know, they know you're faking them out with the oil. But when it looks like Solution Finish, the results that we try to accomplish, it enhances your ability on resell, you know. Now, one area that I think is overlooked most often with the DIY guys, the enthusiasts, even detailers talking to their clients, is that dirt, road grime, petroleum-based products that come off of the road and land on your trim actually will accelerate the oxidation process, start breaking down, make it brittle, make it chalky and gray. Just the simple thing of wiping off road grime, just keeping it clean, will extend not only the life of the part, but the life of Solution Finish. So let's say if you're detailing a car, they're blown away from the appearance of your trim. Just tell them, say, look, if you want to keep it like this, wipe it down periodically. Like what I'll do is use a microfiber sponge. When I'm done with it, I'll put it back into a Ziploc bag, and it stays moist. So when it comes time to kind of freshen up the part, I just take that out, and what I'm really doing is wiping off all of the road grime, and it gives it just a little bit more pop from the remnants that's on it. So you don't always have to put it on. Another thing that I see often is people using way too much product. Same thing with your pads and your product. Like when I'm a hack, I don't know shit when it comes to detailing. Guys think that because I'm in the industry and I go to all these that I'm a pro. In fact, I'm still on probation. I'm not allowed to touch a machine for another, I think, 18 months. But when you're applying it, what you want to do, vigorously shake it, apply a small amount, go on the part until nothing else is gone, then redip it. You know, because everything that you have on your towel when you're done wiping off the surface, that's what you're losing. I can do a whole vehicle without a towel because I spend all the time just buffing it until nothing is left, and then I move down. Detailers don't have that kind of time. Suggestion is shake the bottle, go around the whole vehicle first, put the cap back on, then take your towel and buff off all of the excess. That gives it just enough time to dwell, but Solution Finish is really like water on a paper towel. As soon as it hits the part, it absorbs, but there's nothing wrong with coming back and wiping it down in 5 minutes. You know, all of this is best practice. Now, what the pros do is once they wipe it down, they're done, and they go around and observe any paint that's on, any product that's on, any Solution Finish that's on the paint. They wipe it off. If it dries on the paint, you know, little Windex, simple green, anything light, alcohol will just dissolve it and take it off the paint. It only really works on what it's supposed to. The only time that's a problem getting on the paint is when you have a non-sealed, heavily oxidized car that it's never been maintained, you know, and you're just pulling it out of a barn or you're pulling it someplace, you get it on it, you're going to have a problem getting solution finish out of it. It does happen, and you can do it, but extra time that you really, you know, so if it's until the paint is finished, on an old car, you know, do the paint first, seal it up, and you're not going to have a problem with solution finish. I think I like that. I think I covered the bases without boring you guys to death, you know. I think it's time to go to question and answering time, and if not, then we'll go out and detail, have somebody, I don't think I'm going to even do it. I think I'm going to give it to somebody that hasn't used solution finish before, apply it onto the vehicle out there, and talk through the steps, you know, which is a 30-second conversation. Shake the bottle, apply it to the microfiber sponge that I'm going to give them, and wipe it off with the microfiber towel that I'm going to give them. So I spend most of my time not explaining how great solution finish is, but customer service. Guys call me with issues, and believe me, you're going to run into situations where a detailer in the past put on a ceramic coating on all the trim, even if it's a trim coating in that regard. You know, that's what it's labeled on. But when you put a coating over the top of your plastic, which looks great and it lasts a long time, it doesn't really darken it, so usually they'll restore it with solution finish, put the coating over it, the paint coating over it, and it lasts for a couple years. The problem with that is once that coating turns, you know, either kind of yellowish, once it oxidizes and once the actual coating starts to fail, you have forever locked out solution finish's ability to get into that plastic. So once in a while, you'll take a car, you'll wipe it on, it's looking good, you know, like you're accustomed to, and you wipe it off and it just smears all off. It's sealed. There's nothing you could do. I can remove that coating, but I don't think any detailer in here is going to spend 8 hours on a front bumper. You know, it's not worth it. You know, say, okay, well, we'll put on silicone-based dressing is about the best we can do. You know, in the past, we were running into a lot of it's a weird plastic. It's a plastic alloy, and Honda was doing that in the mid '80s, and it's almost like you touch it, it's almost like metal, but it's kind of plastic and it looks like plastic. It's black. Anything on a vehicle that's black, your hoses, your tires, all the plastic, the rubber, everything, the colorant is a PBK6 carbon across the board. They may change the polymer formula a little bit, add different stabilizers for protection, but it's all a black carbon, whatever level they're introducing into the mix. But that's what solution finish is. You know, I have milled that carbon smaller, half the size of a virus. So that's why it can get into the microscopic pores. If it can't get in the pores, then all it does is become a dressing. The worse the plastic is, the better for solution finish, because the chemical bonds have started to already deteriorate, degrade, which they call photo-oxidation. And once that happens, solution finish loves to get deep into it. New plastic doesn't have that situation. So you put on solution finish, it looks good, but all it really is a dressing over the top of it. It doesn't have the durability. I came out with over-the-top plastic sealer for two reasons. One, you apply solution finish, then you can put over the top of solution finish, but then when it comes time to redo it, you can put solution finish over the top of it, which you can't do with a ceramic coating. See, so they're made to go with each other. The over the top is loaded with the stabilizers that absorb UV radiation and enhance its ability to block it, which, you know, gives it it's like sunscreen for your plastic. So if somebody puts on solution finish and it looks good, and you keep on putting on the sealer, you know, you're extending the life of solution finish because it's got to burn through the sealer before it even starts getting at the restore. One last thing I'll leave with you is, people don't realize this, but silicone-based products, when you apply it, as it's gassing off, evaporating, you know, 7 to 10 days, you know, 14 days would be like a friggin' record for these guys, but you're putting on a silicone-based product. As it's gassing off, it creates a hydroperoxide gas at the surface level of the part, which accelerates oxidation. So you can keep on putting on, let's say if you take a silicone dressing in a brand new car, every week you put it on. It never looks oxidized. Every week. You do it for 3 years. Every week you're putting it on. Never oxidizes. The moment you stop, within 10 days, that plastic is going to look like it's been setting in the sun from day one. All the silicone is doing is wetting it and masking it. So when I was first starting and I needed parts and pieces for demos, I had a roof full of, you know, quarter panels, cab extensions, running boards, everything you're going to make, hundreds of pieces up on the roof from body shops, but most of it was still too black. I needed it oxidized. I would take liquid copying machine silicone and linseed oil, and I would just soak it down, you know, every couple of weeks. And you cannot believe how fast those parts would oxidize with that kind of treatment. And I could tell because if I move it, if a spot that I missed, I could see the difference of where it splattered on and where it just was in the sun. You know, major difference. So silicone definitely has its place in our industry. You know, down and dirty, quick, you know, this is what the guy is paying for. You know, you want everything to look good, but you're not going the whole route, you know. So, any questions?
So, I've never used this product. So, solution finish on a new vehicle, you wouldn't recommend that?
Okay, say that again.
Solution finish, I've never used your product, sir.
Okay.
On a new vehicle, you wouldn't recommend that?
No.
It's more of just a topper now.
Yeah, I mean...
But on an older vehicle, you can put it on. But if it's got ceramic coating on it, it's not going to do the same thing. Right. But if it does not have it, and you put solution finish and then you put a topper on top of that,
yes,
you're allowed to put solution finish on top of that again.
Correct.
At a later date.
Yeah. Now I can make the plastic sealer almost as good as a coating, right? A paint coating, and it lasts a long, long time. But you can't flip flop and pancake it on top of each other.
Silicone base. I know silicone hardens the plastic. You have to wipe it off with either some sort of 50-50 or whatever to get that clean before you put. Not
so much clean as just break down break it down. Yeah, okay. And that's best practice. Really, silicone degrades so fast that, you know, if nobody's had any kind of dressing over it for, you know, months, okay. But with me, if you go through the same steps perfectly every time, right? And you run into a problem then you know it's not you. You know it's not your process. You know, and then, you know, because you run into things like, let's say a truck bed. It has the caps on the bed, the plastic caps. Okay. From the factory, for layman's terms, is at the factory for those pieces, when I talk, my brain's too loud. So when they're at the factory, they case harden them. It's a different kind of extraction process, but that's really what it comes down to. It's very, very hard, because if you have a toolbox vibrating on it, on regular plastic, it will eat through it. Camper on it will eat through it. So it's a different type of process. It absorbs solution finish quite well. Aftermarket caps, I don't know what they do to it or how they manufacture it, but solution finish won't penetrate. You know, so there's there's 25,000 or more automotive polymers used on vehicles, so you can't, solution finish is not a miracle product. It's not like 100% on 100% of the things you run into. You know, 95, 98%. You know, there's very few times where I'll do a demo, or I'll do a vehicle on my own where it doesn't work. But once in a while, it's coated, and you go, geez, this is disappointing. You know, the purpose of this as a detailer, when you explain what you're going to do to their plastic, right, and give them a little breakdown of what's happening in their plastic and what other guys have done with their dressing and why it looks so bad. I know a lot of guys that charge extra to restore the plastic on a vehicle above and beyond the regular package, you know. But let's say Chevy Avalanche. Now, Chevy Avalanche, you know, 2004-ish, the reason it's my poster child and what I do, people think I want to do that because of how much plastic is on it. You know, the running boards, the fenders, I mean, the cab extensions, the tonneau cover. The thing people don't realize till they hear it is that plastic is from 6 different manufacturers. So it's not like it was all made from one company and it's the same formula, same polymer extrusion and release elements, right? It's because it's different. That's why the cab extensions turn gray super fast. The little cap on the back takes years to oxidize. And the reason that is because plastic doesn't oxidize. Pure plastic does not oxidize. You don't see our soldiers in Afghanistan with their M16 rifles with all chalky gray, brittle M16s, right? Pure plastic. Same thing with the Glocks. Pure plastic. Plastic, the cheaper the car, the vehicle, the more impurities and fillers they put in the plastic to make it cheaper, more economical for the vehicle. Like a Saturn. I mean, if a Saturn's in the showroom floor and it's getting some sun, it's going to start oxidizing on the showroom floor. You know, Mercedes, BMW, the higher end cars, it takes much, much longer, and that's because of the purity of the plastic. You know, and to tell you the truth, it's getting worse because with the different regulations for mileage, they're trying to make the cars lighter and lighter and lighter, so they're using more plastic, as much as they possibly can, you know, and that's expensive, and they keep on cheapening the plastic. So, you know, I sit at a stoplight and I see you know, 8 cars in front of me, they all can use Restore, and and the paint looks good. But all they're doing is letting their plastic turn to shit, where for resale, it's going to hurt them. If they keep it, then sooner or later, the plastic's going to degenerate to the point where you're going to replace it, you know. And another evidence of this is, let's say plastic bumper cover, you back into something and it pops in, right? It's designed to do that. Then there's different techniques for popping it out, but it happens quite easily with no damage to the paint. Sometimes you see it popped in and it's got a big crack in it. That's because that plastic has become brittle from lack of maintenance, lack of care, you know. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you.
Okay, who hasn't ever touched solution finish? Huh, I thought I was more popular than that. Okay. I did a workshop for a friend of mine in San Diego, and just 5 years ago, and there was like 40 people in there, and I'm saying, you know, like I started, how many guys have used solution finish? Like 3 hands went up. Okay, how many people have used solution finish? 3 hands went up. You know, and I'm like, wow. And then I told my wife, and she goes, no, that's terrible. I go, no, you don't understand. That means I haven't even scratched the surface of what I can do with the product when it gets out there. And, you know, that's the beauty of marketing. You don't run out of people. Yeah. You know, in your areas, you will not run out of people to detail cars for. You know, you don't run out of people. It's just how you attract those people, you know, and keep them, and having them word of mouth talk about, you know, recommend you. You know, that's all part of the marketing, you know. So if you guys want, let's go pop out there and take a peek.